Okay, and we are live.
Hey.
All right. Sorry for the wait, everyone. Glad to see you all here again. Thank you for joining us for another bit of fun, bit of Aussie humour and fun, hopefully. Let's see. So again, obviously, we're always joined with the big Dave Mack
Hey
and
guys.
Limitless Lindy.
Hi.
But today we have two very special guests. We have a personal trainer from South Australia, I believe.
Yes, Adelaide.
Anthony, yeah.
Yes.
Anthony Faiz, is that it?
Faiz, yes.
Faiz, very good. And Dr. Suresh Kwadka, okay?
Yep.
So
Hi.
very distinguished guest tonight. So there we go. Let's see. Dave, you want to give everyone a little bit of information about yourself?
Sure. So I'm 20 months into carnivore now and loving it and just doing as much as I can to spread the message and get the word out there. So that's where I'm at.
Very cool. All right. Anthony, you want to just introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, so my name is Anthony Faiz. I've been a personal trainer since 2001. I've been using the ketogenic/carnivore diet since about 2009 to help people get themselves into shape, improve health markers, get healthy, get lean, and slow down, even sometimes reverse the aging process.
Excellent. Very good. Can't do better than that.
Of course not, yeah.
Dr. Suresh?
Yeah, hi. Well, thanks for having me on the show. So I'm Dr. Suresh. I'm a GP, come over from England about 6 years ago now. And I do mostly kind of functional integrative work now, but yeah, using low carb ketogenic diets and now, relaxed carnivore approach mainly to basically help people get off their medications, get healthy, fix autoimmune problems. And that's my passion.
Yeah. Excellent. Very good. And down to the lovely Limitless Lindy.
Hi, yes, I'm Lindy, and but I saw someone walking behind me. I was over 300 kilos, 320 kilos. That's what the highest weight on my scale was. I'm down to 125 now. 2 years carnivore. Still on my health journey, but it's been amazing transformation so far.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been amazing transformation actually. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just show some people. Anthony, do you have a YouTube channel?
Not an active one, I'd say. But
Okay.
yeah.
No worries. That's all right. All right. So I'm just going to show everyone Dr. Suresh's YouTube channel. And yesterday, in fact, or was it the day before, did a great presentation on oxalates. I think people should go and check this out actually because it's quite important. Okay, here's the video. Now it's talking about do oxalates, plant toxins cause cancer. Now he's referring to breast cancer, but I think this is a video people should go and check out. It's very important actually. It's and a lot of good research went into this one, so go check it out. And this is his channel. Okay.
My terrible
Go
picture.
give him a sub. Okay. Go give him a subscribe. Very good videos, very good quality. So you'll get a lot of great information. So it's worth checking out. Okay. All right. So what's on the agenda tonight, guys? We'll start with, how about we start with a bit of a quiz?
Sounds good.
All right.
Just testing everyone's Aussie knowledge. Okay. Let me see. Which band enjoyed surf and mull and sex and fun?
Not a clue.
Not a clue? Anyone in the chat got an answer for that one? This one's kind of difficult, actually. It depends on how much you know Australian 80s pop.
Skyhooks?
0.
The Skyhooks? Is that Shirley Strawn and his mom?
No,
that
that,
it?
was more 70s, mate.
70s, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I could Google it, but that would be cheating, I suppose.
I'm out of my depths.
Yeah, I haven't got a clue.
Well, there's a couple of close ones there. Billy Thorpe, Men at Work.
I know the bands. I just don't know which one's specific for, I guess.
Yeah,
those,
surfers.
but- yeah.
All right. Let me see. This band's first biggest hit, okay, was "The Nips Are Getting Bigger."
Oh,
That's a clue.
Song.
The nips are getting bigger.
Yeah. It's Googling.
Someone's Googling it. Yeah, so.
I know the song, but I have no idea who sings it.
It's not the Angels, is it?
No.
Nah.
No.
Good band, but no, not this one.
Yeah, I literally have no,
I'll give you this
no
one.
clue
This
about
is
Australian
80s
bands.
pop, mental as anything.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, was it them? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The nips are getting bigger. Yeah, that's mental as anything. Okay, so let's go to an easy one. Which Australian band, let's see, had the hit that most people, most fans actually thought the lyrics were, "It's a long way to the shop if you want a sausage roll."
AC/DC.
Very good. And the song?
That was quick.
And the song is?
If it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, right? So
Yeah.
is that right? That's the
good.
lyrics, is that right? Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, like that one.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah,
that one
Rain
back
Club,
in
good job.
Do you
AC/DC.
remember back in the lunch order days back in primary school?
Yes.
Do you remember those?
All right. That's a good question, actually. What is your favorite Australian band?
Oh, great question.
Oh,
I like The Living End. They're a bit old now, but don't mind.
So who was that, Lindy?
The Living End. They're
The
from
Living
Melbourne.
End? Yeah.
They're a bit an older band. Didn't mind
I think
them.
my knowledge of Australian music is pretty terrible. Probably pretty much the only band I know is In Excess, so I'm just going to say In Excess.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think they were
Yeah,
just
band,
I'm going to go with Suresh on this one as well. My knowledge is pretty bad about music generally, so I'm going to go with Suresh In Excess.
I don't know, Dave. You're letting us down, mate.
Yeah, if it's not Nana Muscuri, you know.
Mine's Screaming Jets.
Screaming Jets. Oh,
Yeah.
another good one. Very good.
Yeah, love the Screaming Jets. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
good bands. So.
Yeah, I
Yours?
love Screaming Jets, The Living End, but I think my favorite would have to be the Angels, actually, from
Yes.
the 70s.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Old Doc Neeson.
Yeah, awesome.
But there's quite a lot of great garage bands. You know, a lot of great garage bands in Australia.
Mhm.
I like
Can't forget Silverchair, of course. They were a big band.
Oh, yeah.
International band.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, their
yeah.
first album I think was really good. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Massive band.
Yeah. Someone forgot about In Excess. I won't put that comment up on the screen. Okay. Keep it family friendly, please, people. Okay. All right. I want to keep this channel going. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So let's talk about the carnivore diet a bit. Now, Anthony, you were talking just before about how you found the carnivore diet. Do you want to just explain a little bit more about that?
Yes. So I stumbled on the carnivore diet when I was, back in the day at uni. I stumbled on it, during bodybuilding time, and I was just researching some of the older bodybuilders, the golden era of bodybuilding. And I stumbled on it by a gentleman called Vince Geronda, and he was a coach of coaches, as he's known as the Iron Guru. Trained a lot of celebrities back then, and it was the steak and eggs diet, or the high fat diet back then it was called. I didn't really realize it was known as the carnivore diet until recently, when I watched the Joe Rogan interview with Dr. Sean Baker.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they called it back. They didn't call it the carnivore diet back then. That wasn't coined until Baker. But
That's right.
Yeah, like Vince Gironda, that's where, you know, like 36 eggs a day started for like the testosterone boost.
That's right.
And,
So
yeah, things like that. So
he was the gentleman was so ahead of his time. I mean, he knew his stuff. He was really knowledgeable.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he was. I mean, this guy, he was obsessed with bodybuilding. So, like, he just really delved into everything. And yeah, good guy, smart guy. So, yeah, they just call it steak and eggs diet. But and you know, like it's had a lot of names, a lot of different names over the years. With the paleo diet and things like that. So.
Yeah, and then of course you had later on it became the Atkins diet as well, which was I guess similar, but then I think Atkins went down the path of reintroducing carbohydrates. Whereas and even Vince Gironda at one point advocated a once a week refeed, but he wasn't a big fan of combining protein with carbohydrates together.
Be quiet.
Don't worry, he's not talking to you, Anthony.
Okay, so
Oh, sorry. I thought I muted myself. I'm sorry.
Be quiet.
Oh my god.
be quiet. I love it.
Sorry. My kids are in the
No
background.
problem, mate. No problem.
Oh dear. Okay. Obviously, my mute button does not work.
That's so good. I love it.
Good to know.
Maybe we should have everybody on mute and then just to save us. Oh, that's so good, Suresh. I love that. That's great. Is that the culprit right there? Is it?
That was the culprit.
Adds a
Right
bit
there.
of
I'm sorry. I
comedy to
wasn't
that.
talking to you, Anthony. Please carry on.
That's okay. I'll be quiet. All right, Doc. I'll be quiet. He wasn't an advocate of combining protein and carbohydrates together. He believed that when you have carbohydrates, they have alkaline enzymes in them, and they require the body to be in an alkaline state for optimal digestion. And if you bring them together with protein clearly has acidic enzymes that require the body to be in an acidic state for optimal digestion. So once you bring them two together, they kind of antagonize each other. And if you have one more than the other, you may create a putrefaction effect, or you may create the other one is putrefying, and I forget what it's called, but when you have too much carbohydrates in, then a fermentative effect, that's what it is, and it creates, burps and everything else that releases. So so he was not an advocate. And if you think about it, we never ate those two macros together because they were never gathered, hunted, and eaten in that manner. That never happened.
That's right.
So,
There's another reason. I mean, it wasn't just bodybuilders like Vince that advocated for that. It was, the strongmen back in the day, they were always jacked. Like they were always really jacked. Yeah. Now they're quite large, like they go for volume rather than actual mass. So it's just one of those things. I think that's another reason why Vince didn't like carbohydrates, is because it did create volume rather than actual like muscle mass. So,
it gives the illusion of muscle mass, because clearly you're stocking up the carbohydrate with glycogen, and it gives the illusion. Of course, there's a lot of water. Every gram of carbohydrates holds 3 to 4 grams of water. So it gives the illusion of muscle, but really it's not pure muscle tissue. I think Dr. Chafee called it fool's gold.
Yeah, exactly.
In one of his interviews. And, where it really turned, and people were starting to then focus on the if it fits your macros. Have you heard of that movement at one point? That as long as, for those that don't know, as long as the foods you are eating meet your macros, proteins, fats, and carbs, and as long as you are in a calorie deficit, so-called calorie deficit, right? That started from, I believe anyway. Do you remember there was a guy back in the US that did the Twinkies diet?
Oh yeah.
He just ate nothing but Twinkies and lost an incredible amount of weight, just to illustrate to people that as long as you are eating in a somewhat deficit of energy or volume of food, then you can pretty much eat whatever you want. And everyone saw that as a license to eat anything and everything, like with impunity, not realizing that, hey, what about inflammation here? What about seed
Well, I
oils?
think,
What about
the
sugar?
calorie stuff actually started before that, but it was like that was like a big propaganda tool that actually boosted it, you know.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's just
So, yeah.
utter garbage. I mean, the fact is he was just starving his body of nutrients. So
That's right. And so people got on this, and it's still going today, that people are more fixated on taste and palatability than they are on nutrient density and health. And that's what's getting people, as long as I'm in shape, I'm okay to eat whatever I want. Well, nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just nuts. Just got to give a shout out to Professor Bart K, the man himself, the legend. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Suresh, you want to tell us about how you found Carnivore and what got you started on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been doing a, I suppose, version of carnivore diet, you could call it, for the last about 14 months now. And I did pure carnivore for about 9 months, very strict, very hardcore carnivore, not lion diet, but just pretty strict hardcore carnivore. And we can talk about my experiences there and why I changed from that if you want to later on. But I actually kind of heard about it from a patient a while ago, probably, I don't know, 4 years maybe now. And did the typical doctor thing of like, you're an idiot. Like this is stupid. Like, okay, I've heard of keto, you know, I was teaching like low carb keto for a long time, and I still kind of did the typical doctor thing of no, it doesn't fit with my training, it doesn't fit with what I know, so it can't be true, it can't be right, it's just meat diet, like that's just crazy. You know, you're just stupid, your cholesterol, think about your cholesterol. And, you know, like the typical doctor thing. And he basically just said, look, I'm doing it. You're my doctor, so tough luck. And he watches the channel, so hi. Yeah, you're going to see the benefits. I'm doing this. I'm unhealthy. I need to change. And I saw the benefits. It was amazing. Very, very quickly. A lot of stuff that just kind of shouldn't have got better did, and nothing got worse. But I still kind of did that typical doctor thing of just like, okay, well, I see it, but I don't believe it because it's not in my textbooks, and this is crazy, and you're just a freak, and, you know, kind of go away. I don't want to get involved in whatever it is that you're doing. And he, you know, kind of kept coming back, and everything just kept improving. His blood test kept improving, felt great, you know, and so on. But I still kind of just couldn't really bring myself to kind of accept this, which I'm a bit embarrassed about now. I wish I had. I could have been 4 years further on.
I think it's difficult, you know, to come to the realization that your education is completely bogus.
It is. And look, I'd done that for a bit with like low carb and fasting and stuff, really kind of questioned my knowledge, my understanding of things, but not to the point where, you know, carnivore completely kind of rocked my world. Like completely just rocked, like the whole foundation just was blown. Whereas low carb and keto was a bit more like, okay, well, I get that. Like that makes sense. Just don't eat garbage, reduce the sugar a bit. Okay, that all makes sense. But how can you be healthy from like never eating vegetables, never eating fruit? Like, you know, that's just can't be right. So that was a total mindset change. But I actually came across it from Dr. Chafee at the Low Carb Down Under here in Australia, in Gold Coast, 2 years ago, and I heard him talk. I saw that on the you know, the leaflet, plants are trying to kill you. Okay, I've got to go listen to this. This is going to be good. And I just heard him talk, and then something just kind of clicked. I was like, okay, there's a doctor talking about this now. Like, I've heard about this, I've seen some of the benefits, but now there's a doctor talking about it. There must be something in this. If a doctor's willing to get up on stage in front of, you know, 1,000 people, whatever it was at Low Carb Down Under, there must be something in it. And so, yeah, why not? Like, I love eating meat. I not a massive fan of vegetables, to be honest. I kind of choke them down most of the time. Like fruit I like, but why don't I just give it a go, see what happens? I wasn't at that point super healthy. I was approaching diabetes. My family's big history of heart disease, everything. Like I'd pretty much just kind of given up, actually, which is really sad and embarrassing as a doctor to say, but like I knew what to do to be healthy. I just kind of couldn't do it, if that makes sense. Yeah. It was just so hard, always going around in this cycle of just getting healthy, getting unhealthy, getting off the bad food, getting back on the bad food. Like nothing ever stuck with me. And then so I just came home.
How did you feel? Sorry, how did you feel when you saw your cholesterol rise?
The first time, I didn't really care, because by that point I was pretty knowledgeable. I'd read up loads about it, because suddenly I had to like relearn everything. So that didn't overly bother me, but we can talk about cholesterol, of course, later on. But yeah, and then basically like 2 days, like I literally just felt like Superman. Yeah, I literally felt like I'd just been reborn into this amazingly perfect adult body. I didn't look like it, but I felt like it. And I literally just felt like Superman. And I just, okay, this is it. Like this is gold. Like this is crazy, but it's working. There must be something here. I feel incredible. And that was like 14 months ago, and pretty much been teaching it, or variations of it since, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah, well, it's I think it's quite a challenge for everyone when they first come to carnivore. It's because I mean the education, all the propaganda, all the BS we've just been growing up with. It's quite difficult to just come to jump in and say, oh yeah, this has got to work. My first reaction was bullshit. Like that was my first reaction. I'm like, these people are trying to scam you. Like my wife actually suggested it. She actually showed it to me, and I thought that's bullshit. People have been cutting carbs for millennia, trying to get lean. Athletes do it all the time. They cut carbs, they get lean, and you can't sustain it. That sort of stuff. But there you go. When you dive into the research a bit, it's pretty eye opening, and it kind of it's just makes you feel kind of crap about your education as well, doesn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. It makes you think. As a doctor, it makes me think: how many people did I put onto medication that didn't need it? How many people did I refer for surgeries they didn't need? Chemo. Or maybe not chemo, but like methotrexate for arthritis. Things like that. Like how many people maybe just didn't actually need these medications, these drugs?
Well, yeah, chemo is definitely one of them. It's one of the most overused drugs. Yeah, chemotherapy is one of the most overused drugs in the world.
It's serious stuff, and they just kind of hand it out like candy nowadays. Which is maybe that's not fair to say, but there's too much reliance on just, oh, okay, you feel this way, here, have drugs. Without actually really understanding, well, what is actually the root cause? Why are we having these issues, and addressing those?
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see if there's any questions, guys. Please put triple Qs in the front so we can see them. Okay, it's going to be quite a lot tonight. Comments. So I'll try and get to as many comments as I can. Please try and put some Qs in front of it so it make it a bit easier for us to see. Okay. All right. So it's time for another quiz question, shall we? Let's see. This one may be a little bit difficult. I like the difficult ones.
More difficult than the last ones.
Maybe. Okay. Let's see. What are the missing lyrics? Okay. Let's see. Okay. This one maybe not so difficult, actually. Okay. Rolling down a highway, going to a show, stopping on the byways, playing rock and roll, getting robbed, getting stoned, getting beat up. Okay. So AC/DC were in the wars. What happened to them next in this song?
I'd pass.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Pass.
No AC/DC fans?
Anthony looks like he wants to give the answer.
I think Anthony is thinking. He's thinking.
I'm gonna put him on the spot.
I can hear the gears turning.
Oh, are we talking about the film clip here? Are we talking about?
Oh no, talking about the song,
the lyrics. Yeah,
the lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Say it one more time. Just read it. Read the question again.
Okay, hang on. Let's see. Okay. Rolling down a highway, going to a show, stopping on the byways, playing rock and roll, getting robbed, getting stoned, getting beat up. What's the next lyric?
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
Broken boned.
Getting broken boned?
Broken bone.
Yeah. Yeah. From a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
It's the same. I was going to say it's the same song we had before. Okay.
Yeah.
I figured it might be something we're getting.
That's why I thought you'd get it,
boned.
actually. Yeah, I thought you'd
My
get it
mind
because of
was a bit
that.
of a dirty place with getting bones, so I didn't say it.
Okay.
Kind of has.
Which of the following AC/DC songs from early Bon Scott era featured Bon performing a bagpipe solo?
Not a clue. I'm not
Come
a
on,
huge
guys, it's not really that tricky a question. Yeah,
you need a cricket.
it's been very good. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Very good. Yeah, same song. Okay, all right. We'll find an easier one after this one. Question: do you recommend organ meats? Anyone want to take that?
I do. Yeah, I recommend organs.
You do?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them work so many times. Liver, particularly. I used to say no, they're not needed, and they're probably not needed, essential, but beneficial. Yes, I think they probably are. Liver just seems to, I don't know what it is about liver. It just has this quality that seems to just help people, almost regardless of what they're dealing with. Whether it's the copper, the iron, the folate, the boron, I don't know what it is, maybe a combination of everything. I'm not really sure, but it does seem to fairly significantly help people. Like heart has just stack of coenzyme Q10, lamb's heart especially, spleen, kidney, thymus. Kidney's not my favorite. I don't really like the taste of it and the smell of it, but I might have it occasionally. Brains, I've not really got into brains yet, but I want to try eating testicles at some point to get some testosterone, but I haven't tried that one yet either. But liver, yeah. And like liver capsules and stuff if you have to. I'm a big fan of just whole food. And just like basically, I make pate out of it. Like I just get lamb's heart, lamb's liver, blend it up, and just, basically fat, bit buttercream, something like that, tiny bit of salt, pepper, whatever. And it's just pate. Really simple, straightforward, dead easy to eat.
Anyone else?
I'm not a fan. I just can't bring myself to try it. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to cook it. If someone was to prepare it for me, I might try a bit of liver, but I don't have any organs at all.
Yeah.
I've had liver occasionally at barbecue restaurants in Japan, but it's not very often.
Yeah, they eat a lot of organ meat in Japan. Like they eat nose to tail, basically.
From a young age, my father would always make lamb's fry. So he would chop up and then he would, I guess, fry it. He had a really good way of cooking it in a way that just kept it very tender. And I was a big fan as a kid. And then I kind of I think it sort of weaned out of that growing up. But I really enjoyed it at the time when I was eating it. So do I recommend it? I don't think they're mandatory to have. I think it just comes down to the individual, whether they find it palatable, whether they think they need it. I think the human body is very intelligent, and if you're swaying towards wanting to eat it, clearly it's giving you signals that you may be deficient in something. And yeah, so I think just listen to your body. If you stuck to muscle, meat, and associated fat, I think it's plenty. But if you feel the need that you may want to push the organs, and there's no resistance with your body, then go ahead, especially if it improves your health. So
Yeah. I mean, myself, I don't recommend it. But, you know, like you said, like there is more wisdom in the human body than there is in the deepest philosophies.
mm-hmm.
You know, Friedrich Nietzsche said that.
Well,
And it's true. Like your body knows what it needs, and it, you know, at any given time, your body knows pretty much more than what obviously our brains do sometimes. But just listen to your body. I think there is a little bit of an obsession about. I think you need to be careful as to the dose of the organ meat, because you can get too much of a good thing. You can get too much copper, for example, like copper poisoning and things like that. And I think I think in just normal muscle meat and fat, you get everything in a perfect amount. So I don't think it's really necessary to overdose on vitamins and things like that from the organs. But, you know, if you like the taste of it, then, you know, go for it. It's up to you. That's my thought anyway. So, you know, and it's it's doing me pretty well. So, thank you, Dr. Suresh. Is there a question there? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just a comment. Yeah.
Yeah, here's another one. Have any of you guys read about the anti-parasitic properties of a high-fat diet, low carb, and carb-free carnivore? It's something I've been learning about, and I'm just curious if any of you have.
No.
Not so much in that strict sense. No. Other than, you know, carbs potentially do feed, you know, potentially bad bacteria, parasites maybe, and so on. You know, fiber feeding bad things as well as good things, for example. But I haven't read anything specifically about any anti-parasitic properties of, say, a carnivore diet.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I mean, it would go without saying, if you're eliminating all carbohydrates, that naturally it's anti-parasitic.
Yeah.
Unless of course you're on the other side that believes that meat contains parasites. We know where that's coming from, which clearly isn't the case, in my opinion. But clearly, if you're on a carnivore diet and you're eliminating food groups that are food for parasites, then it's naturally going to be anti-parasitic.
Yeah.
That's my take
I mean,
it
sounds like, it makes sense, doesn't it? So
I did a live blood analysis, must have been about 2 months ago, and it didn't have any parasites at all. So
yeah, good. Okay, question for Lindy: how did you prime with a lap band?
Great question.
Yeah. To prime, you have to just divide the meals up. So instead of having larger meals, just eat throughout the day. So just grazing, so small portions, 5-6 times a day. So that's the only way you can prime. Otherwise, you just can't get the food down. So smaller meals.
Very good. Excellent. Good question. Okay. Let's see. Comment. I watched, listened. Okay, here's another question. Dr. Suresh, are you now advocating carnivore diet to your patients, and are you getting pushbacks from your fellow doctors or colleagues?
That's a very good question. It's a question get asked a lot. Yes and yes to both of those. Yes, also from patients, actually, pushback sometimes. So Obviously, people coming into me, look, I'm doing carnivore diet. Look, they're not going to push back if I'm talking about carnivore because they're doing it, of course. But yeah, like not everybody is ready to be, even having a discussion around deprescribing or coming off medications about being healthy. It sounds crazy. Everybody, I think, wants to be healthy, but some people don't know how to be healthy. They're so far kind of beyond because they feel like they've been there, they've done that, they've tried everything, nothing ever works. Everything they've been promised the earth, nothing ever delivers, and they just get worse and worse over time. So for them, it's just they don't have that capacity to just take anything new on because they've heard it all before. So I don't launch into someone, oh, you've got a cold, oh, do you want to talk about carnivore? Like, no, stub your toe, oh, because you weren't carnivore, you stubbed your toe. Like, no, obviously. So it's time and place. But yeah, look, there's a bit of pushback from colleagues. I work in a couple of practices that are good. They know what I do, they accept what I do, and because they see the results, with patients, so they're happy. They know that I'm, doing it safely, and essentially it's a ketogenic diet at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And when you come out and say, oh, look, have you heard of this carnivore diet? Everyone's like, oh my God, it's crazy. Like just like I did 18 months ago, 4 years ago rather. But if you say, oh, look, do you want to try a ketogenic diet? People are like, oh yeah, I can get behind that. And maybe it's just a low oxalate, a low toxicity, ketogenic diet, and rather than doing kind of low carb, you're just doing zero carb or as close to as possible. Or I approach it from a elimination diet perspective, which is probably mostly actually what I talk about nowadays with patients, from an elimination diet perspective. Just you've got these issues, why don't you try taking things out of your diet? And then that's just the elimination diet. It's the ultimate elimination diet. And then if it suits you, you want to carry on with it, great. If you want to add some stuff back in, fine. Be my guest. That's the whole point of elimination diets. And usually people can get behind that. Even fellow doctors. But yes, like when people see cholesterol's going up and things, that can be a challenge. Yeah.
How about you, Anthony? You might get some pushback too. You're a personal trainer, so do you have any pushback from others?
Well, do I get pushback? I think in the personal training space, there's a lot of respect between personal trainers, and they all tend to stay in their lane, so to speak, because a good personal trainer needs to have an alliance of other health professionals around them. If you're a good personal trainer, I chose one aspect of fitness, and that was body recomposition, but I didn't choose functional. I didn't choose posture. I didn't choose. I did sport specific starting off, but if there's an area that I'm not savvy in, I'd handball it. And I think there's a real good respect around personal trainers that we don't get much pushback. In fact, the opposite, because we tend to have an industry of personal trainers wanting to learn, and there tends to be more questions asked around it. That's interesting. But then, of course, on the other side, there are just people that are just set in their ways. And and it's okay. So the long answer for that is I don't get that. But when the results come in, a good personal trainer, you'd be able to see who their client is once they walk through the door. It's like, okay, she's training with him. Clearly, he's a carnivore, and she's clearly a carnivore. And the results speak for themselves. So, that's my take on that.
Yeah. Cool. Question: Should we be concerned with higher than normal?
I think that was clarified to higher than normal iron later down in the chat.
That's my colleague, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Melissa B. She's a Lean 7 coach. She's joined the room. So thanks for joining, Mel. But,
okay, so should we be concerned with higher than normal iron levels on the carnivore diet? No, I don't think so.
In fact, we usually see the opposite, don't we, Dees? We we usually see, especially women, we usually see lower iron levels,
Yeah, that's
lower
right.
ferritin levels, and yeah. So
There's never been anything bad associated with a higher iron level. You might get a bit rusty, but that's about it. Yeah,
I'll let you go ahead there.
you're right. What are you going to say, Suresh?
I was going to say I have to kind of interject there. I mean, high iron levels is potentially damaging to the liver, and I see this frequently. Not specifically on carnivore, no. As we said, basically, usually we see lower iron levels because inflammation goes down, liver function improves on carnivore. Once you drop all those carbs off, then ferritin actually drops typically because it's artificially elevated because people are inflamed and they're unwell. But if
another question
iron levels are,
have you ever heard of anyone having a higher than normal iron level though?
Yeah, I mean all the time. I mean hemochromatosis, yeah, definitely. It's a genetic condition for predisposing to storing excessive iron,
okay, but
which is
diet,
potentially dangerous. No, I mean hemochromatosis is a genetic condition, and you can eat a fairly low.
Apart from genetics, like a genetic predisposition, from diet causation, have you ever heard of
that? No, not really, other than it's people's, like bad diet that's leading to inflammation, which then raises the ferritin. Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the question, if it's do we need to be concerned with how much iron we are eating, most people probably not, unless you've got hemochromatosis. If it's do you need to be concerned about high iron levels, if you actually just have high iron levels, then yes, you do.
Okay.
Does that make
Fair
sense?
Enough. Yep, that makes sense. But like I said, I don't think I think it'd be pretty rare to be caused by the just the carnivore diet to have a higher than normal iron level.
Well, can I just add, if let's say, because I know Melissa personally, if she does have higher iron levels and she's pretty much a pure carnivore, the question is, should she be concerned? Because it's based purely on diet, and she eats a lot of red meat. So, yeah, that's the question. I don't know the answer to that one.
Another good question would be if is she supplementing iron as well? Because a lot of women do supplement iron because they don't want to be too low.
From my guess, I don't know. From what I know her, she doesn't supplement with iron, especially when she does bloods very, very frequently, and she tends to be slightly higher on the iron side. So I don't think that she does. So that's really my take on it. If she doesn't naturally have, well, she has high levels of iron, and she's a carnivore. So should she be concerned based on that, Suresh?
I guess it probably depends a bit on what's considered high. I mean, if we're like high normal, no, probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's high, like way over the reference range, yes, probably. If we're like borderline over the reference range, and everything else is fine,
And what would they do in that situation? Let's just say.
Well, probably venesection. So just taking off blood and discarding it, or donating blood is the usual treatment for. Sorry, my daughter's talking to me. Is the usual treatment for like hemochromatosis or iron overload. But we have to remember all these things are in a balance. So taking just one marker is not particularly useful most of the time. It's what else is going on. So if everything else is plumb normal, like liver function's perfect, CRP is fine, like copper levels are fine, they're all in range, copper to ceruloplasmin ratio is good, cortisol, DHEAs, like all that kind of chronic stress stuff, gamma GT, oxidative stress for the liver, like everything else is good. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be overly concerned, and I'll just monitor it. But get a liver ultrasound, whatever, just make sure nothing's going on, cover all those bases. But otherwise, yeah, I just would monitor it, not worry too much. If there's signs of metabolic dysfunction or liver dysfunction, then yes, I would be more obviously concerned.
I think you need to go on more than just one blood test too. So how many blood tests are you over the so-called normal? range for iron, and how far over that iron are you each time? Because like blood tests vary from blood test to blood test as well.
They're also very fickle, and they're also not only fickle, but the markers keep on changing from time to time.
Yeah.
So, the question is, what is normal?
Yeah.
Where do we start? And then the numbers just continuously alter. And then you've got a question, who gets bloods done and where we're getting this normal health marker from who's getting bloods. Dr. Chafee and I think I wasn't talking to him about it, but he was saying most people that are sick are typically getting bloods.
Yeah.
So then where do we get, I guess, the health, what's classified as healthy?
Yeah, that's right.
My take on it from outside, I guess, if we evolved on an ancestral diet of meat, had that been contraindicated due to high iron levels, then it would have been knocked out of our genome, or at least we would not have actually survived today as a species, if that was the case.
Exactly.
And it was.
It's the
That's
same
my
with
take on it.
The cholesterol levels, the people that set these cholesterol levels, they want us on a low cholesterol diet, even though cholesterol is so essential for hormone production and so many other things. So, I try to convey to people, don't stress too much about these, like basically BMI markers on your blood test, because they do vary, and each blood test you get done, they are so different to the next.
Well, just to add to that, we were speaking about CRP a second ago. My CRP is usually, just to get a bit personal, is under 0.4, 0.3, but I've just got a long COVID. I caught COVID 25th of December last year, and my CRP went up to 2.4. So sometimes being too conscious about the bloods will change from time to time. They are a snapshot in that moment.
Yeah.
So many variables will play. That's the other thing to add to it.
That's another thing. I don't think people need to stop stressing about their blood markers. I mean, I get mine tested regularly because of my condition, but that's it. I mean, other than that, I just would not bother with it, honestly. Test if you're sick, but if not, if you're healthy, why bother?
Especially if you feel really good. If you feel really good, and if we had no access to bloods, but all you had was how you're feeling, how you're sleeping, how's your energy levels during the day, how's your libido, all these basic questions, they tell us a lot, I think. So yeah, that's my take. Anyway,
your body, like you said before, your body knows what it's doing. Question: 2 weeks ago, I started craving raw ground beef. Anyone else? I simply salt it heavily. Yeah, I've never craved raw meat. But
I've got an interview on my channel with a lady who only eats raw beef, and she quite happily sits there eating raw ground beef out of the packet. And yeah, she didn't start that way, but she just, had a taste one day and was like, I feel amazing. I'm just going to keep eating like this. And she just continued.
Yeah, well, if it feels good, if it, I guess whatever works for you. I would never crave raw stuff though. How about you, Lindy?
No, I do like my steak rare, but not raw. I used to like them, so yeah. I guess I am changing, but I don't think I crave raw.
I like the occasional, carpaccio or something, just super like a topside or something, like super thinly sliced, and a bit of salt, great. But raw, like burger meat, like minced, I'm not feeling that.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that one. Raw fish, I'm good with. Like when I go to Japan, especially like raw tuna,
sashimi.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one. Okay, anyone?
Take it back. There was actually one, DC. There was a question before that about intermittent fasting.
Oh, yes.
If you can just, that was, and I can actually answer this one if you want.
Yeah, sure.
So, so you're right. Is intermittent fasting essential? I've been doing it for 2 months now and not really feeling or seeing any benefits. People use intermittent fasting for different reasons. I'll just share my experience because most people that I speak to do intermittent fasting. Some will do it for the autophagy benefits, for the cellular renewal, and of course anti-inflammatory benefits. But most people are using it as a way for weight loss. And if you early on, if I'm doing a consult with a client and we've done some dietary recalling and found out that they've been severely under eating, going from one crash diet to another, they don't have any business at all doing intermittent fasting early on. They need to be healing the metabolism by slowly incorporating food throughout the day. Clearly, Lindy knows that as priming. We've done priming, and we used to use that for many times. Even mid transformation with somebody, if nothing is moving, we would do a diet break for 2 or 3 weeks and feed them more food over time. And I think sometimes intermittent fasting, if you've got a history of high levels of cortisol, stress a lot, and you throw intermittent fasting on that, I think it may cease to have benefits. This is my experience with it. So it really depends on what benefits you're looking for, and if it's for weight loss and you're stalling, then just go back to slowly feeding the body, healing the body with good nutrition. Because if you think about it, if you've started, most people who start transformations, they're malnourished, and so the body clearly needs nutrients and needs enough of them over time. And I think Dave Mack and I spoke about this in the interview, and I called it inadvertent fasting, meaning get to a place where you've eaten enough food that your body naturally does not want to eat much more, and now you're fasting by default. That's a better approach than to force yourself to do extended fasting for one reason or another. There could be many reasons why Sue Wright is doing intermittent fasting, but I'm just saying more for people that are looking for it for the weight loss area. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, I agree 100%. There are benefits to fasting, but generally speaking, like for me, especially when I started Carnivore, I didn't do any fasting at all, and I still do not do long-term fasting. I do maybe short intermittent fasting, but that's just because I'm just not hungry. So I've just got to the point where if I'm not hungry, I don't eat, and that's it. Some of the benefits you do get, that's right. But your body you should always feed your body the nutrients it needs when it needs it, I think. I have done long-term fasting before while in treatment, and you do get some benefits from fasting, such as it does stimulate your stem cell production. Okay, to a certain degree. So for things like that, if you have it's not really a great idea. I don't think it's a great idea for weight loss because it covers all your weight, including muscle tissue and other things like that. So it's not really going to just take off fat by fasting, especially if you're new to carnivore.
Especially extended fasting too. And the other thing is, because carnivore satiates you, and you tend to find profound satiety on the carnivore diet, and now you combine that with time-restricted feeding. So if your issue has been under eating for a long time, and now you've switched into carnivore, which also eventually satiates you, which may promote under eating as well, and now you're fasting on top of that, now you give yourself a recipe to severely, in my opinion, damage them or create metabolic set point whereby you just, what do you do with somebody? I've got 2 patients. Let's say I have identical twins, and let's say they both have similar body fat levels, but one of them maintains that weight and that body fat level on 3,000 so-called calories, and the other one maintains it at 1,800 so-called calories, and now they both want to drop body fat. Who's got the better metabolism? Well, clearly the one that eats more food does. Because where do you go with somebody who comes to see you and they're eating 800 calories? Where do you go from there? And if they want weight loss, and I see it time and time again, you have to slowly heal them over time with more food. So food is the solution, not the problem.
Yeah.
Food is the solution, not the problem. And I think if we're throwing intermittent fasting in the mix too much for the intention to lose body fat, and I'm using it strictly for body fat reasons here, for fat loss reasons here, then I think that may do more damage. And on top of that, I didn't mention people that have food addictions.
Yeah.
If you're throwing in a fast due to food addictions, you're sending signals to the body of deprivation, that whole binge and restrict syndrome that we go through, or I've experienced people go through. They binge and they restrict, and that fasting may be a signal to restrict. And if you're going to be doing that too long, then you may not be able to see the benefits of it. Use it as a means. Give your body the nutrients, like DC said. Give the body the nutrients it needs, and then your body will tell you when it's had enough, and you'll naturally want to eat less often because of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, you just end up starving yourself, honestly, and you get that rebound effect.
Yes.
Okay. Because you go into that starvation phase, and you rebound, you start binging again, and it's just all you're doing is losing muscle tissue and bone tissue, and then when you go into the binge, you put on more fat, so you're weaker and fatter afterwards.
Well, when Melissa, that was just speaking before, when she competed in her first ever bikini competition, she ate her whole way through that. She ate her whole way through it. We didn't drop.
Well, that's the thing. You can do that on the carnivore diet. Like, if you give your body the right nutrients, your body, you can eat as much as your body needs. Your body will tell you when to stop eating.
Correct. Yeah. Next question.
Next question. Okay. Any studies done on the ancient Inuits who ate mainly meat and seafood? Yeah, there's been plenty done, actually.
I think Jonathan maybe answered this question for I call a little bit further down in the comments.
Yeah. Don't worry, Nathan. We've still got more quiz to come. Okay. Yeah,
what was interesting about the Inuits is, and I haven't had a chance to corroborate this, I don't know, people have probably seen Dr. Chafee's interview with Dr. Saladino, and Saladino is talking about them having this, not being in ketosis, actually, a lot of the time, which is really interesting. And I can't remember the name of who it was, because I listened to Saladino's podcast, because he's got a lot of good stuff to say. I don't agree with him on the sugar side, but he's got a lot of good stuff to say otherwise. And he was interviewing someone, and they were talking about this CPT1 gene, which my understanding, my brief understanding, is that it essentially kind of regulates fatty acid oxidation and may control, going into or out of ketosis. And it seems to be that maybe the Inuits have some adaptation for not being in ketosis, which is very interesting. So which kind of is a bit against the idea of ketosis being good for us, if they've got an adaptation to not be in ketosis, which is very interesting, and it kind of divergent from the whole ketogenic diet principles, but perhaps maybe like a very long-term ketosis may not be optimal, which is what we were talking about earlier with the refeeding. And
there's another thing too. People get obsessed about staying in ketosis. The fact is, you need to eat, and your body needs nutrients. Every time you eat, you're going to delve out of ketosis. So I mean, it's very rare, I think, like, unless you're like a long-term sort of fasting sort of thing. You're not going to be in ketosis for that long, really. Like, every day you eat something, so you dive in and out of ketosis anyway. And people obsessing about measuring ketones all the time. It's just, honestly, just wasting money.
Well, here's the other fallacy, and that is, the deeper in ketosis you go, the more that oxidation you create. That's not true.
Yeah.
No,
That's not true at all.
no.
I
it's
think
not.
in like 5 years of doing low carb medicine, I don't think I've ever recommended someone check their ketones.
No.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I mean-
because maybe like someone who's diabetic refuses to stop their medications and they're at risk of EKA, maybe on a low carb diet, but most of them will just stop the medications. So like it's mostly just, I don't feel like it adds anything at all to check your ketones.
For general health, like it adds nothing, honestly.
Mm.
But if you are going through treatments, if you're going through some sort of treatment like chemotherapy or something like that, you might check your ketones to help you track where you are at. But that's about it. Or like how well your body's sort of reacting to the treatment that you're on with your diet. That would be about the only reason I think I would even check that sort of stuff, honestly. Okay, ferritin actually raises on carnivore
There was
diet. Sorry?
There was a question.
Sorry, Lindy.
Elspeth.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Question, Lindy.
What do you eat daily? And do you track your protein? I normally just eat beef or lamb. I just stick to the ruminant animals. Occasionally I'll have a bit of salmon, just 1 meal a day normally, sometimes 2, depending on how I feel. And I don't track anything. I just eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm not. But I do tend to fall into sort of an under-eating pattern with the restriction. I'm just not hungry. So I have to, and I find the scale stalls when that happens. So then I have to go ahead and prime and try and fix that stall. It usually helps just by priming.
Yeah. Very good. Cool. Let's see. I had stable asthma, but low VO2 max for many years. Do you know of people who have improved their VO2 max with carnivore? Have used implemented steroid inhalers for many years. Actually, I have. But not just with the carnivore diet. If you want to improve VO2 max, you also need to exercise as well. Deep breathing exercises I do every morning, along with I do sprints and other training as well in the gym. So I don't think a diet specifically is going to increase your VO2 max. Maybe I couldn't say, but maybe you guys might want to comment on that. But I think just carnivore diet does help you get moving though, which will increase your VO2 max. Anthony might be able to answer that one better.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of high intensity interval training or burst and repeat activities for VO2 max. And to feel good, you got to fuel good. Fuel good to feel good. So most people that don't exercise is because they don't feel good. So once you get yourself fueling right, naturally that will increase your willingness and wanting to go to the gym or go in and exercise. And that's where I think good nutrition comes into play with it. Yeah. So, and of course, performance improves, and so too does recovery. And those are all, I think, ways to improve VO2 max indirectly through nutrition. I can't really state how it may impact it directly, but I would say with exercise would be the way. And that's definitely the way that we do it. So, yeah.
But now that I think of it, like my red blood cell count and everything, white cell, everything for me, my blood count has gone up. So that would be a direct result, like of an increased VO2 because my blood markers have increased. So
that's true.
That would be a direct result of the carnivore diet, not just from exercise, but yeah. So I would say, actually, I think of it, it would increase, even just the carnivore diet alone would increase your VO2 max to a certain point.
But you're raising hemoglobin as well. Your hemoglobin's going up
that's
too.
Right. Because
so
my hemoglobin's gone up, so your VO2 goes up. So that would but again, until you get to a homeostasis point, after that, you would have to increase your high intensity exercise regime.
Mm-hmm.
That about right, Dr. Suresh?
Yeah, I mean, I think raising hemoglobin is going to probably have an effect of increasing that. But outside of that, I don't think carnivore is going to do that much other than help people lose weight, get healthy. That's going to help them exercise more, and that's going to help them with
once you're at a healthy level. I mean, it will raise your VO2 mates when you get to that healthy level. But then after that, to a point, then after that, you'll have to work on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Question. My ferritin has always been 30, borderline deficient in the last 5 years. Does carnivore normalize levels? Generally speaking, I would say yes. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, whenever I see something like that, my mind goes immediately to oxalates.
Yeah.
And carnivore itself may or may not give you more iron than you were taking in already, because most people probably eat plenty of iron actually in the diet. It's just being interfered with in lots of other ways with all these anti-nutrients, oxalates, lectins, phytates, gluten, all these other anti-nutrients as well, messing with the gut, messing with the iron levels. When you take those out of the diet, of course, carnivore's taking them all out, things improve, almost hands down. Yeah.
You're also eating a lot more meat on the carnivore diet, and the only iron that is actually bioavailable to humans is heme iron. So
most people probably eat enough iron, actually ingest enough iron on the whole.
Depends on how much meat they eat. Yeah.
They're just not getting it.
Yeah.
Like it's maybe physically passing their lips is what I'm saying, but they're just not getting it into their body because it's either in the wrong form, they're not having enough vitamin C if it's non-heme iron, or heme irons, they're just not eating enough meat. And of course, all these anti-nutrients just wrecking things as well. Basically, once you take all of that out of the diet, things do usually normalize.
Yeah. Cool. All right. John's a great guy. He's got a lot of great knowledge as well. So we should have him on here sometime. But he's from the UK, so we can't really have him on the Aussie Carnivore Connection. But he's a good guy. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Yeah, that was the point I was making earlier. Reference range of the blood test based on normative median ranges of the unhealthy population, because they're the ones that are getting their bloods done. Yeah. So, we're getting somebody did a PhD on the word normal, and it turns out it has to have a factor of 62, meaning that 62% would need to be having it for it to be quote unquote normal. I found that very interesting. Anyway, that's
right. That's the thing you got to remember when you get these blood tests done. It's like a BMI test. It's just testing the population generally. So,
well, we that's the acronym for bloody misleading information.
Yeah, exactly.
The
BMI. So.
I mean, like reference ranges. They're based on usually like the first maybe 2,000 people that go for that test, and maybe for something like, I don't know, kidneys, liver, blood counts, where like it's a standard test. Like you go to the GP, I don't feel good, whatever. Like they just do it every year, they just get it done. That might be a little bit more standardized, but I mean, something like tumor markers or something that's not very commonly tested, chances are pretty much everyone going for that is going to just by definition be sick, and so the ranges are going to be for sick people pretty much. Even outside of that, what was the latest evidence research from the US? 93% was it, or 97%? I think maybe metabolically unwell. So the first 2,000 people that go for a test, I mean, 93% of those are probably going to be metabolically unhealthy. Exactly. And we're using that as a reference range for everybody to what we should be aiming for. Like, I mean, it's garbage.
There's just so much involved. Like that, that's why I keep stressing to people: do not stress over your blood test, okay? Especially just one. Yeah. So, all right, let's have a bit of a quiz. Love Is in the Air was a hit for which male vocalist? This is a multi-choice, so you got a good clue here. There's John Farnham, Ross D. Willie, William Shakespeare, and John Paul Young.
John
John Paul Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I
Maybe
get
Shakespeare.
that one. Okay. Which band had the hit album entitled Diamantina Cocktail?
Which band? I'm out that one. Not sure.
You gave us multiple choice for the easy question.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea. Okay, I'll give you multiple choice. Okay, there's choice of Hush, Master's Apprentice, Skyhooks, and Little River Band.
Little River Band.
Very good, David. Well done.
Ooh.
Good guess, Dave. It's a great guess.
Yep.
And it was a guess.
Yeah. Which band was Daryl Braithwaite the lead singer of?
Ah.
Oh,
This
that's
is
come to my
also
head
the
now.
name of a junk food.
Junk food.
Pop-Tarts.
A type of candy, I would say.
What is that? Sherbet?
Oh, that's
Very
yeah.
good. Well done,
Yeah.
Sherbet.
Thought it was
Yeah.
sherbet.
Well done,
Yeah.
Anthony. Very good.
Done.
Yeah, Sherbet. Very good.
Those
Okay,
old school.
kidney size will increase with higher protein intake. It's an adaptive organ, much like muscle tissue. Yeah, very much so. That's why one of the reasons my kidney has a good function actually. Protein really helps. As long as you don't get too much of the wrong type of protein.
I could answer that one.
Have you all quit coffee and why? I'm 99% carnivore and 1% coffee.
I could answer that one.
I really feel more better on coffee without. Okay. Go ahead, Anthony.
Is everyone on mute? Who's on mute?
No one's on mute, mate. You're right.
Oh, okay. I quit coffee 3 years ago, and I only did it to get off caffeine for a week or two, and I'll tell you what, that 1 week or two became 3 years later, and I sleep like an absolute baby because of it. Just incredible benefits that I've had being off coffee. Better sleep, of course, better oral care as well. Like, you know, as your teeth get whiter, everything improves. Also, your wallet is. I was buying like 2-3 coffees a day at the time, you know. So that's my experience with it. But I do from time to time get a nice little smell of the coffee, and I just like, you know, you kind of crave it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my take on it. So completely caffeine free. What about you guys?
How about you, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Lindy, you
Oh,
can
go ahead, Lindy. Go ahead.
I did quit coffee for a while, and I found it made no difference. But I still choose not to drink it unless I go out, and I have it like as a treat when I go out with my friends. I come in here and see my daughter. I'll have a coffee, but maybe once a month. But it doesn't seem to affect me at all. I don't feel any better or worse with it. Sleep like a baby, so yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Mm.
How about you, Dave?
I have been a heavy coffee drinker all my life, and I always wanted to give it up because I knew that it was affecting my sleep. Not for any other reason than just to get the sleep quality better. And I have given it up just recently. It's been over a month now. So yeah, my sleep's improved a lot. I've been sick this week, so the sleep's regressed, but you know, apart from that, yeah, it's been really good. It's well worth testing anyway, I think.
Yeah.
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 How about you, Dr. Suresh?
Yeah, I gave it up for probably, I don't know, 9 months maybe. When I went kind of started carnivore, I was like, I'm doing this, like hardcore, straight in, just bam, everything's gone apart from meat. That was tough. I got some pretty bad withdrawals. I've been like, yeah, like sometimes like 8-9 cups a day, like way too much coffee. At the moment, yes, you can get some food. Sorry, after my son was born, so the last kind of 8 months now, I've been drinking coffee because anyone that has a newborn in the house, you don't get a lot of sleep, and so coffee's kind of been my go-to to keep me going. But I have been slowly reducing it back down. I'm down to 1 a day now, and that's kind of just like an optional. You know what? I kind of like drinking coffee. For me, the benefits of coffee, yeah, I don't think there's massive benefits. I don't think there's any massive harm either from like maybe 1 a day. People talk about the toxins and things. Yeah, that's a thing, but I'm not sure it's a massive problem for most people if you can tolerate it. I just like the taste of coffee, and life's too short to, I think, give up absolutely every part of, things that make you feel good. So I'm probably going to stop it completely at some point. But for me now, yeah, like
I'm more for like just do what works for you. For me, I gave up coffee, and like I had those withdrawal symptoms, the headaches and all that sort of stuff, which for my mind is, if it's doing that much to you, okay, like when you come off it, what is it really doing to you, sort of thing. So I haven't gone back, although I have tested it just once actually, because I took an iced coffee. Like I used to drink at least 1, 2, or even 3 a day, but a couple of months ago, I tried it again, and I had a headache for 2 days. It was a shocker. So
Yeah. DC, that's how I got off mine. I had kaleidoscope vision on my headache on the day that I got off it. The next day, I had real severe migraines, and it gave me kaleidoscope, and that was my wow, okay. If it's doing that, getting off it, what's it doing staying on it? So that's why I got off it. Yes.
Fair point.
So I just looked at it as, that's obviously you just get used to feeling crap, and that's why you keep going with the coffee, and it's very addictive. Like when you smell it and you oh wow, that smells so good. I'd love to have a coffee, sort of thing, even months later. But I tried it, and like I said, I had a massive headache for days, and it was just that's the sort of feeling it gives you afterwards. So I think try it. If you're happy and you feel good on coffee, then do what works for you. But at least give it a try. I think see how you feel. It's not going to hurt. Take a couple of weeks off coffee. Completely up to you. Question, Kimberly. I'm curious. Have you heard of Asiatic tea or food grade hydrogen peroxide 35% in treatment of cancer? Actually, no, I haven't. I haven't heard of that. Has anyone heard of that?
No.
I'd be curious. Actually, I might look into that. I'd be curious to see what it does. I'm cooking lamb chops dinner tonight. Very good. Lamb chops are great. Love lamb. Nice fatty meat. That's something I think a lot of carnivores, when they do come on to carnivore, they try to look for leaner meats. I think you should try and get the fattiest meat you can. That's where you're going to get most of your vitamins and nutrients and stuff. So, how about you guys? When it comes to what's your favorite cut of meat, and what is your eating pattern like? Dave, you're OMAD, aren't you?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So eating pattern is just every day 7 a.m. breakfast, and I don't have space to cook much here, so I just cook ground beef. But my favorite cut of meat is like I love an eye fillet.
Oh, yeah.
I feel it's really nice. I'm not sure. I think they call it a tenderloin in the US, but yeah, I feel it is awesome. Yeah.
How about you, Anthony? What's your eating pattern like?
I'm typically 2 meals a day. and it's bacon and eggs meal 1, and then I would have ribeye meal 2, ribeye with eggs meal 2. Typically poached eggs. It's so interesting because I have a local cafe, and I know the chef very well. I just walk in and I just go, she goes, same. So she serves, she'll serve 4 or 5 poached eggs, about a couple 100 grams of bacon, and 3 or 4 big knobs of butter on the side. And then sometimes she might have, they may have gone and got like a lamb, and she's chopped it up and she's put some lamb on the side. And yeah, she looks after me there, that girl. So that's the first meal about 8 o'clock. And then the second meal, if I'm hungry, sometimes I'm not hungry. Early dinner, it won't be lunchtime. It might be about 3 or 4 p.m. That's my second meal. And then I always encourage a postprandial walk after a meal. A good 10-minute walk helps improve digestion, helps improve glucose uptake if you're having carbs, but if you're not, that's fine. But I just find that, as geriatric as it sounds, taking a nice walk in the evening hours is a good idea. So typically I'll have an early dinner and then take a nice half an hour walk, and that tends to hit the spot for digestion. So
pretty much exactly my routine. Okay,
there we go.
I have bacon, eggs, meal 1.
Yeah.
And I'll have 200-300 grams of bacon, then I'll have 6, 7, sometimes 8 eggs with that. Then anywhere between 3 and 5, I'll have my I'll have like 800 grams of chuck steak.
Nice.
And then I'll go for a walk.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Typically the workout, if I'm training, let's say on a training day, if it's a training day, the workout typically is sandwiched between the 2 meals. So I might have the breakfast, and I might train a little later. And then, of course, I'll have the post-workout meal at some point when I'm hungry. If it's leg day, then you don't really get hungry post-legs until after a while. Because so that's it's very after that. It does. You don't get that hungry after leg day, on leg day. And that's basically it. And what about
I'm
you,
exactly the same.
Suresh?
Actually, I'll eat my first meal about 11 o'clock. I do my training session about from 1 to 3-ish in that time. And after that, I'll eat meat. But usually after a leg workout, it usually takes me at least an hour to settle down before I'll eat after legs.
Yeah, I don't understand people that want to, they feel that the anabolic window is closing after a half an hour. You get a food. It's a lot of.
Well, I used to be like that too. Like I used to
remember back in the day.
I'd do my session. I'm like, you got 30 minutes to get that protein shake in. Otherwise, to get the recovery in. But it's complete BS.
It is. I'll add also if it's I do have Greek yogurt sometimes, and I get it with unflavored whey. Maybe a little bit of unflavored whey, and that would be the sometimes food that I'd throw in there.
Yeah, my kind of typical eating pattern is I eat very intuitively. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. Simple. If I'm hungry, I eat. Usually that works out maybe 1 meal a day. Well, I call it 1 meal a day. It's not really 1 meal a day. It's more of like a 20 and a 4 maybe fast. So I have an eating window of maybe 4 hours. You could call it 2 meals a day, perhaps, within 4 hours. But so the morning, I have either a bone broth or a coffee. I don't have coffee every day. If I have bone broth, tiny bit of butter in there. If I have coffee, I've actually started putting coconut oil rather than butter. I found that's helping me actually lose some fat, which is very interesting, rather than the butter. But then I never really eat lunch or anything at work. I just come home about 6 p.m., make dinner for everybody, eat some dinner if I'm hungry. If I'm not, I don't. I typically am by that point. But and then do a bit of a workout in the evening, and then I actually often at the moment I'm eating fruit as well. Shock horror. I'm eating a little bit of fruit, not like one peach, like a couple of berries, like hardly anything. Like we're not talking like mountains of fruit or anything like that. Not like a 300 grams of carbs a day.
Are you in the UK or in Australia at the moment, Suresh?
No, I'm in Australia.
Yeah, so I mean, you know what, man? It's hot. I get
Oh,
the
yeah, for
gravitation
sure.
towards the fruit, and it makes sense evolutionarily, of course, that there is that
Exactly.
pull over the
And that's
summer. You know,
why I do it. Absolutely. So
yeah.
I'm all about like the
Well,
evolutionary, diet.
seasonally we
What did
always
ancient
had
man
fruit.
do?
We did.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. And so that's when like stone fruit, like peaches, for example, in season. Yeah, like I'm not eating 10 peaches a day. No, I'm eating like one a day. But and I usually do that after the workout, not because I want the anabolic window or whatever, but just because it's like, well, if I'm going to eat a bit of sugar, I'll just kind of bring it back down a bit with the exercise. So, but yeah, I just eat very intuitively. My favorite cut of meat is probably a supremely smoked brisket. I think I have to say, and I have to use the word supremely smoked because I'm not very good at doing briskets. But like a really properly smoked brisket, like it just melts. Like you look at it and it falls apart. Is that's probably my favorite. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. How about you, Lindy?
Yeah, I don't normally eat until about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I might have a Scotch fillet. That's my go-to at the moment. Maybe a couple of egg yolks. I don't have whites at all, and I just salt the egg yolks and kind of dip my meat in that. It's almost like a mayonnaise consistency, and that could take me 2 to 3 hours to eat with this restriction that I've. So yeah, it takes me a while to eat, so that'd be my meal for the day. And sometimes, like if hubby comes home at night, I'll make him a steak, and then I'll just have the fat off that, and that's it until the next day. So yeah.
They call that a yolked omelette. They call that a yolked omelette with no whites, just the yolks. So.
Yeah, I don't cook it at all. I just have it raw egg yolks, and if you salt it, it kind of
nice.
cures.
Even better. That's great.
And it's like a mayonnaise consistency.
It's great if you can get them fresh.
Yeah, I get them from a farm. They're delivered weekly by a farm.
That's good. Yeah. There's a great dish like in Japan. When I go to yakiniku, like you go to a restaurant, it's like a little barbecue plate in the middle of the table, and you just cook it yourself. So you got all the control. It's good, but they give you a bowl with a raw egg in it, and just like the yolk, just mix it up a bit, and that's your dipping sauce for the steak.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you cook the steak,
Beautiful.
and you just dip. I tell you, if you got a fresh egg, a good fresh egg, and you just fresh cooked steak straight off the pan, dip it in an egg, it tastes fantastic. It is the best. It is absolutely delicious.
Not a good sight for egg haters. That would be cringing right now. Anyone who's got an egg hate. I know a few personally that don't like eggs that well, so they'll be like,
More for me.
Well, if you get a good, a very big difference there to like a supermarket egg and a good, fresh, organic egg.
You can taste the difference.
You can.
Yeah.
When I was in Bali, I was in Bali in November, and I don't know what it was, but whether it's the quality of the eggs that I get at this cafe, they're just bright orange, okay? But they come straight from Adelaide Hills. They're really good quality eggs. But the ones that I had in Bali, they were just runny and almost bright yellow. Just a different egg altogether. No disrespect or whatever. It's just the quality. I don't know. Is the color? Does it change the texture of it? It was just so rich, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon you can tell the quality of an egg from the shell. So like shell, sometimes you buy like the supermarket
egg, eggs. A really hard shell. Yeah.
Yeah, like you literally pick them up out of the pack and they just straight away break like in your fingers. And it's like,
hens per hectare. They call a good quality the hens per hectare. So clearly, like you got less hens around to, quality eggs.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good grass-fed eggs.
Yeah.
Just checking for questions. The VO2 one, I think we did that just before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go back to the quiz. Okay. All right. Which Which former young talent time star had the hit with "He's a Rebel"?
Young talent time.
Do you remember that TV show, Young Talent Time?
Yes.
Yeah, I can only think of Tina Arena, but that's
Yeah,
not a
Tina, is it Tina Arena?
No, it's a guy, didn't
No,
you?
it's not.
Yeah. I don't know.
She
any
was
of the
in Young
guys.
Talent Time, yes, but it's not this one. He's a Rebel is a different one.
What's the answer?
Anyone get it? No, it's not Johnny
No.
O'Keefe. Okay, I'll give you this one. It's Debbie Byrne.
Okay, I would never have gotten
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah,
Blast from the past.
yeah.
My next guest was going to be Bob Hawke.
Yeah, I don't think so, Dave. Okay, let's see. Okay, here. Finish the lyrics. Okay. This is an Australian crawl song from Reckless. Feel like Scott of the Antarctic, base camp too far away, a Russian sun beneath the Arctic berg and wheels and camels initials in the tree. She don't like. Okay, now this is multiple answers. So that kind of behavior, defacing gum trees, big alligator, explorers in the bush.
Hey.
Yeah,
Hey?
Kind of behavior.
Very good. Yeah, that kind of behavior. Very good. Well done.
I was going to say
Nice
big
one, Lindy.
alligator.
Sorry?
Nice one,
Everyone-
Lindy. I said, nice one, Lindy. You got it.
Sorry, I'm being
Lindsay
attacked
got that
by a fly here.
Go on, Lindy. Okay, question. The very important carnivore question. Is Limitless Lindy a florist? No.
No,
she's
my
not.
daughter is. Yeah, it's
it's her
Valentine's
daughter.
Day tomorrow, so we're working back. I have to go and look at the flowers soon.
Your daughter just waved at us.
Oh, did she? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's busy. She's made. Yeah, I can show you the flowers if you want. She's doing an amazing job.
Must be busy. Yeah, Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Yeah, so just me and her working back tonight, and then back tomorrow for the big day.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think it's like one of the, like, I don't know how a florist actually survived. Like they only open like on holidays, or like how often do you need to buy flowers?
She goes to market 3 days a week, and it's a 2-hour drive. It's in Epping, so from where we are to Epping, 2 hours.
That's a big travel. Epping from Druin or from
Druin to Epping. Yeah.
Okay, we've got a question here. BK, Belgian Carnivore. My blood pressure is 15/9. So like 150/90, I guess. Just came back from the doctor. I hope I don't have to get worried. Maybe Dr. Stretch might want to answer that one.
Yeah, I mean 15/9. I mean, if the blood pressure is 15/9, like, yes, I'm very worried. If it's 150/90, then they probably wouldn't have walked back home from the doctor if it was 15/9. 150/90, that's high. I mean, again, have they got white coat hypertension? Is it genuinely like that? I mean, the first thing I would do is get a home monitor and do it at home. Take it, at least 3 times. Ideally, once in the morning, once in the evening, over 2 weeks, average the results. That's kind of a standard protocol for doing a home blood pressure monitor. But if it's still, like 150/90, that is high. Blood pressure is an independent risk factor for heart disease, as well as a lot of other issues. But it also raises a question: why is it 150/90? Which is the thing to then address: is why is it high, and then addressing that.
Yeah. yeah, it's pretty difficult to say why that would be from like this point of view, but yeah, when I was in, I mean, honestly, like my blood pressure would be that high if I get a visit from my mother, you know. So it depends on the stress too.
Yeah, and like coffee and things and all that stuff. Were you running late? Was the doctor running late? I mean, all this kind of stuff factors in. So again, home readings twice a day, 2 weeks. 28 readings basically, and average those out. Put them into an Excel spreadsheet. Click average, job done, and see what your numbers are looking like. So general guide would be about 110/70. 110/70 would be a really good, kind of home blood pressure, basically. For most people.
That's a good question. Were you vaping before the reading? If you're doing anything like that, that might help as well. So. Okay, so Aid has a very embarrassing Valentine's story that he's not going to tell us.
Kind of
talked himself out of it.
Yes, normally it's 120/80. So like a one-off, I don't think you need to worry, do you?
I wouldn't overly worry if I saw that person in the clinic, but I would be suggesting that they just keep an eye on it. Yeah.
And Sandra was just saying he does vape, so could be any reason to stress. Stress is another. Stress really raises your blood pressure a lot too. So I would be looking at that too. Okay, so let's go back to if you want to put in that very embarrassing story, we'll listen to it. But I think other than that, we've been going for a while, so we'll have one more quiz question, and we might call it a night. So, okay. Let's see. Here's one that Dr. Suresh might even know. Which Perth band's first hit was "Just Keep Walking"?
Perth band. I feel like this is In Excess just because I said I know In Excess.
Yes, it is In Excess.
Hey, I got one.
Hey, he got one.
Okay. Are they from Perth?
Yeah,
wow.
They're from Perth.
Wow.
They're like when they got their first big hit, they moved from Perth to Sydney. Yeah,
right.
So
Interesting.
yeah, but originally from Perth. Yeah. All right, guys. If there's no more questions, we might call it a night. Okay. Any questions? All right. So let's see what's happening with you guys at the moment. Tell me what you're doing with your channels and any advice for anyone that you might want to part with. Go ahead. How about you, Dave?
Coming up on the channel, just got more interviews. And my advice is it's always the same, but for someone starting carnivore or for someone getting back on the wagon with carnivore, just focus on a day at a time. Focus getting through that one day. Don't worry about, I can't do this for another 50 years or something like that. Just focus on the one day, get through one day. Then when you wake up on day 2, your resolve's going to be stronger because you wake up feeling like, I did it. And then focus on just getting through day 2, and it just builds momentum. And before long, it's like, I can do this for 100 years. So
that's really good advice. That's really good advice, Dave. I felt like that getting off sugar. Just take that one day at a time, and now you just completely disassociate from it as a food. It's really fascinating to watch how that works. Yeah, so that's great advice.
Cheers.
Okay, how about you, Anthony?
Well, since Dave's interview, I think my emails just gone absolutely bonkers for the Lean 7. So people are just getting in, and just on the website, there's a section for a discovery call where they can just inquire about some services together. So my coaches and I have just been just in a good way, bombarded with some great consults. It's really helped. I'm still doing online training. I also do personal training 2-3 times a week, but the online training is really taking off at the moment. So we're looking at getting Lean 7 into to that next level. And so my advice would be give yourself enough time, because if you're just starting out carnivore for the 1, 2, 3, maybe even a month, your body may still be purging toxins. It may still be acclimating, getting rid of, especially if you're doing things like oxalates, dumping oxalates, and it may take some time. So don't judge not by appearances early on. Give yourself enough time, at least do minimum 30 days. In fact, in my clients, I actually advocate 90 days where it's at before you can really discern the benefits of this diet. Give yourself enough time, and don't quit early on. And if you're going to do it, do it. Don't just carnivore-ish it. Some people just do carnivore-ish here. If you're going to do it, do exactly what Suresh did. Go all out for a little while, because then you get proper experience. Then you can actually find out whether it served you or not. And based on my personal experience, the ones who really genuinely do it don't leave because they have to leave. I mean, they don't get off. They don't stay on carnivore because they have to stay on carnivore. They do it because nothing makes them feel any better. Nothing makes them feel. And then once they reintroduce certain food groups, they feel the difference. They feel the contrast between how they felt when they weren't having them and how they felt on them. So just let your experience guide you, and just give yourself enough time. That's my take.
Okay, just tackle this one question. Can oxalate dumping manifest as gout?
Yeah, they can.
Yes, especially if you're consuming alcohol, and if you're also consuming other things like gluten, I think so, it can as well. Yes. In fact, the calcium buildup that are in spinach, I don't know whether that plays a role. I don't know too much about it, but I think it can manifest into gout. What's your take, Suresh?
Yeah, I mean, it can. Gout. The other thing is it gout? Is it pseudo gout? Oxalate. Very much pseudo gout. Other things can cause pseudo gout as well, but not everything that looks like gout is gout. But even then, yes, look, I think it can most likely precipitate, gout as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, how about you, Lindy? What's going on, and any advice?
I think I did an interview with Dave this morning, which I think is going live at the end of the week. So that's something exciting to look forward to. And channel, I'll probably do another update next week. This week I'm busy in the shop with my daughter helping out. So and my advice is just to keep it simple. Don't focus on the scales, just concentrate on healing, just eat your meat, and don't worry about anything else, tracking and all that. They're all tools you can use later on if needed, if you're stalling or whatever. But just start the day, keep it simple.
Yeah, especially if you've got
advice.
if you're just starting out, it's so easy to get overwhelmed and you end up with paralysis by analysis. Keep it simple. Eat your meat. If you're eating eggs, if you're having butter, whatever, bacon, that too, whatever. But just keep it simple.
Yeah,
exactly. Suresh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of started writing my next book. On the diet section, I've already something like 90 pages into that. It's, not even halfway through that, so I have to do some trimming down. I think is going to be 1,000 pages long otherwise. It's my everything that I talk to patients about, in one kind of book. How to be healthy, basically. I haven't come up with a title yet, but it's how to be healthy.
That's a good title right there.
It's not a bad title. It's not a bad title. I think Ben Bickman's "Why We Get Sick" is better. I got that on the back shelf there. He's taken that one, but otherwise, yeah. I mean, I had a bit of a break from the channel. I'm back to it again now, and I mean, I mentioned eating a tiny bit of fruit at the moment. I mean, kind of exclusive for this show. I mean, I'm actually going to be coming out and saying fairly soon that, you know, maybe perhaps a pure strict carnivore may not actually be the best thing for some people. Maybe not everyone, but for some people. And I've seen some issues, you know, as a doctor with patients on a strict carnivore diet that have actually been resolved by adding in a little bit of carbohydrate, which I know is sacrilegious. I know, and I'm going to get hate for it, but you know, it's what I see. It's what I see working, and that's why I started my channel in the first place, to talk about what I see working, which was carnivore, which is still carnivore. But for me, I think carnivore is an elimination diet first and foremost. It's just that most people feel great on it and carry it on long term, and that's great. But yeah, I think as far as advice is concerned, don't sweat the small stuff. You know, everyone's got their own little take on carnivore. I mean, carnivore means different things to different people. For some people, they'll be thinking, well, I eat a tiny bit of fruit and I'm still carnivore, you know? So carnivore can mean anything to people. So find your own rhythm within it. Don't sweat the small stuff. If you feel like, you know, your body's driving you to something that is natural food, like fruit, maybe just think about listening to your body. You know, we mentioned liver earlier. If you've been driven towards liver, just go and eat some liver. If you've been driven towards a bit of fruit, go and eat a bit of fruit. If you've been driven towards ice cream, look, maybe that's an addiction and there's another issue. But, you know, again, I believe that the body tells us what to eat. And I see people, they're in tears because they want to eat fruit and they're not allowed to. You know, and they've fallen into this kind of dogmatic, zealous trap of listening to the hardcore kind of crowd. And actually, they just need to just relax a little bit and just go with the flow, listen to their body, eat intuitively. And that's what I advocate, is just intuitive eating. But I think carnivore helps you to get to that point, which I think what Anthony was kind of referring to is, you know, actually learning what food addictions are, what food is, what nutrition is. That's where carnivore is really good.
Well, the idea that some would deviate, you know, isn't that an indicator? Isn't that an announcement there? And we're calling it, why am I getting off it? Well, we deviate naturally, not because the body is clearly giving you more signals, and here's us being a little bit more too strict on it. If you're deviating and you're wanting to have some fruit, and then you're being strict on yourself for that, no one's questioning why we're deviating. What's the signal the body telling me here? You know, could something else be going on outside that? We don't know. Do you know what I mean? And then, of course, 6 reasons why people cannot follow a strict carnivore diet. I highly recommend people watch it. You know,
definitely
listen to go again. What we said earlier, Suresh. Listen to your body. I think even DC said it as well. Just listen to your body and the signals it gives you. Why is it when people have a massive carb meal, naturally they just don't want to eat carbs the next day because they feel so bloated, and then naturally go back to eating meat? There's another cycle right there. Why would we listen to that? So
the thing is too, you know, even on like carnivore, as cavemen, you know, especially in Europeans, or there were eventually seasonal fruits, you know, wild fruits that did grow, and you know, we did partake, you know, and we do love sweet. We are evolved to love sweet things, you know. That's why they use it against us now, because we love sweet things. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a little bit of fruit here and there, but when it becomes when you get addicted and you're sort of feeding that addiction of sugar and things like that, then it becomes a problem. Okay, because then you want the next sweetest thing, and it just continues from there. If it's just every now and then you use like a one piece of fruit as a dessert, how is that?
And that's what I'm
hurt anything.
That's what I'm talking about. You know, they're like maybe 15-20 grams of carbs a day max, which is probably replicating what you would naturally get in the wild from just muscle glycogen anyway. You know, the meat that we get in the supermarket doesn't really have any glycogen in, maybe 1 gram, you know, per kilo. Like out in the wild, it's like maybe 10-15 grams. And, you know, to kind of jump ahead a little bit, I see Darkfields put some questions there. When you add that little bit back in, like 10, 15 grams, yeah, things normalize. Like people feel better. The people that I'm seeing, that maybe it's different, you know, I'm seeing a select population that are having issues. So, you know, maybe it's not everybody, but the people that I'm seeing, yeah, we're not talking like animal-based 300 grams, 4, 5, no, nothing like that. But like maybe, yeah, like 10, 15, 20 grams of sugar, like in a natural form, a piece of fruit. You know, we're not going back onto ice cream and sodas and all that kind of stuff. No, nothing like that.
I think
that's
the difficult part is, though, for some people, they can't regulate themselves. They can't take like one sweet thing and just cut it off there. So it depends on what your situation is. When it comes to like addiction, it is it can be a very slippery slope for some people.
Absolutely. I was like that for sure. I was like that, and without. Yeah, sorry.
You go, Suresh.
Yeah, I think if I'd have started on animal based, I probably would have had real issues. I think. Because I've thought about this, because I've actually tried animal based for like 3 months as well, which I haven't again publicly kind of said, but it's out there now. And if I'd have started on animal based, I think I would have really struggled, because my sugar addiction was very, very, very real, and I think carnivore gave me those tools to deal with that. So then I can then move on from that. But carnivore was like the reset for me. Yeah.
So are they physical issues, or are they more emotional sort of issues, like just craving something sweet?
Bit of everything, actually. Again, look, I mean, I'm seeing a select population, and so there's going to be some biases there, of course, some selection bias.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Some mental issues, physical issues, exhaustion, tiredness, fatigue, hormones issues dropping, testosterone going down, insulin resistance starting to creep up, these kinds of things, you know, happening. Chronic stress state, basically, starting to happen.
Could that be just the volume of food? Maybe not eating enough, do you think?
It's possible.
Not getting electrolytes?
It is possible, and I've thought about, could it be electrolytes? Could it be then getting insufficient fat maybe in their diet? And we've looked at these things with patients, and that doesn't seem to kind of fix anything. And then they add that like 20, 30 grams of carbs back in, and then just bam, literally like the next day almost, like the blood test. And look, they can vary day to day, of course. But there's a marked difference then in these patients. In some of these metrics, and they straight away just feel better on that little bit. Like we're literally talking like a piece of fruit a day, or a glass of milk, like 20 grams sugar, a decent glass of milk. We're not talking animal based reams of honey and all that stuff. No, we're talking like maybe 15 grams, but it's for people that can moderate it.
So that's a big thing. Some people just can't moderate, you know. That's a big issue for people.
Yes,
So interesting though. And like I said, like I always tell people, like you should test and play around with what works for you. Because just trying to be like strict carnivore just to follow everyone else is it's not going to work. It's not going to do you any good. So just doesn't matter how much information you get. Just you still have to work out what works for you. You know.
Yeah. Good point. And listen to your own experience and not the experience of other people. A lot of people look for answers outside of themselves, and really the closest your body speaks is to you. Feeling is the language of the body. Feeling is the language of the body. And so if you just closely listen to your experience, document things, write things down daily, just really journal at how you're feeling, especially after an experience of food. That's usually when the body talks to you, is after. And then take your cues beforehand. What are you cueing? What cues are you getting beforehand? What foods are you gravitating towards beforehand, and why are you gravitating towards those? The more data you create, the more data you collect, the more you know about your own body, and then you can start making more, I guess, educated decisions, logical decisions based on you specifically, nobody else.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's important. Wise practitioners, you know, they toss away the experiences of others and listen to their own.
Yeah, exactly. But what Jonathan's saying there is, yeah, I 100% agree. Like when you're feeling tired on a carnivore diet, usually it's because you're not getting enough fat in. Because your body, when you are fat adapted on a carnivore diet, that is your energy source. So you need to eat more fat. And that was the same for me. When I was transitioning, that was the same for me. So that's why I started eating extra beef fat. Like I'll just cut it up in cubes and I'll fry that, and that'll be a good snack every now and then. If I feel low on energy, that's what I'll do. I'll eat more fat. And everything comes good. Honestly, like cramps, muscle cramps, that sort of stuff. I eat more fat because I add salt with it as well. So I eat a lot of salt with it, and it really does make a big difference how much fat you are eating. So,
we do butter bombs. Butter bombs where you just
butter's
cook up
great.
butter and pop it into an ice cubes, and just it just tastes caramelizing. It's a nice taste, especially salted butter.
Yeah, like, especially in summer, if you want a cold snack like frozen butter bites. That sort of stuff
they're
is
really
great.
good.
So it's all good. Alrighty, okay, guys. I think we'll call it there, and thank you all very much for joining us. There's a bit of a long one tonight, so all right, no more questions, and thank you all very much. We will see you again next week. Take care. Have a great week.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.